First owner of the land was King James because it was part of the Virginia colony. Maryland split off from Virginia, and the Calverts from his court ended up running it, and his successor, King Charles. And then a deed of grant was given to a man named William Joseph, who was the governor of the state. And so it became known for centuries as Joseph's Park, that particular hill and the things around it. And then you come forward, and fascinating that the Carrolls lived there, especially John Carroll couldn't inherit because he had become a Jesuit priest. And he was the first Archbishop of the Catholic Church in America and a founder of Georgetown. You can see his seated statue in front of Georgetown University. But his brother Daniel Carroll II was very notable as in Maryland and US history. He was a longtime delegate to the state and then became part of the Constitutional Convention. And he actually authored the Freedom of Religion Clause that was voted on. There was a farmer, Alfred Ray, who owned it for a number of years, including through the Civil War when it was temporarily occupied by Colonel Jubal Early, the Confederates invading Maryland for a final battle near Washington. It has a fascinating history, and then it's owned by a businessman who really loved fox and hounds. I mean, he was the Chevy Chase Hunt Club, as I recall. Clarence Moore, a businessman of note, anxious to build up hunting in Montgomery County. Now, Clarence decided he wanted some better hounds, so he went to England to buy 30 or 40 or more hounds, found them, shipped them back to the United States, and he waited a few days because he was excited to go on a luxury liner named the Titanic. So his dogs came here safely, but he didn't. His widow could not sell the property until the youngest child reached the age of majority. Then it was bought by a developer, Continental Life Insurance, who built the Rock Hills development. And then for some reason, they never developed that. And then in 1950, it was bought by 3 Jewish partners, but they owned it from 1950 to 1962 and decided it was time to sell. They were just doing it as an investment. And they were selling it to a famous developer in his day, Jerry Woolman, who was a multimillionaire, one of the richest men in America. He was going to pay $15,000 an acre, and he was just going to do condominiums there and grocery stores and stuff. That was what was going to be there. Morris Camphor, one of the 3 Jewish partners, had a friend named Richard Barker, who was an attorney for the church, and Barker begged him to sit down and talk about selling the land. He kept saying no. Camphor finally said to Barker, what is the temple really about? Can you just say it? And he just looked at him and said, it's about binding families together for eternity. It's about uniting the world. Nobody can be excluded, including 99% who are not of the LDS faith. He was so moved, he hadn't even talked to his partners, and he said, we're going to sell it to you. I think my partners will feel as strongly as I do. We're going to sell it to you for $14,000 an acre. He said, consider that our contribution to the temple. And Morris Camphor used to drive out there when it was being constructed in his limousine and with friends and other people he brought to the site. I would always say, this is my temple. He was proud of what they had done. So yeah, a marvelous history of preservation through the centuries so that it could be used for this very sacred edifice, this house of the Lord.